Guys, welcome back. I am here for your next ortho update. Exciting stuff. This appointment was month 19, and if you've been following along, you know that it was supposed to be 18 to 20 months. And as many times as I confused myself and, got that wrong, that was what we projected from the beginning, was 18 to 20 months. And like I said, this was our May appointment, and it was month 19. So I had a lot of stuff on my plate lately that has been mentally and physically taxing. Just a lot of things kind of hitting one after the other. Normal things in life, but just, again, all coming at once, and jury duty and mammograms and dentist appointments and orthodontist appointments, and just, anyways, this particular appointment, I was like, well, this one's going to be easy, it's going to be fun, and I'm looking forward to it because I'm going to go in there and he's going to tell me a date for next month when we get the braces off, and we've made it, and I'm so excited. And so very happy to go to this ortho appointment for once. And again, if you're following along and you know me, you know just the fact that having any work done in my mouth gives me anxiety, and it's definitely not something I generally look forward to. I love my orthodontist. I love the girls in his office, the women in his office. I don't know why I always say that. They're not girls. Some of them are, but most of them are women. I love the staff at his office. They're really great. And, the appointments are generally pretty quick, so it's not like, a half-hour long cleaning or anything like that. So there's less anxiety involved to begin with, which is great. But this one in particular, like I said, I was expecting to have our discussion about when they're coming off, and I wasn't really expecting anything in here to change at this point. I think everything that needs to be done has been done, and it was just a waiting game of the final steps. The only thing I thought might change is I've had the rubber bands, but only on one side. I think that about last 3 months now, maybe 4, but I think definitely the last 3 months. And that was because we needed to bring the top teeth back, but also my midline was a little off to one side, and he wanted to pull it slightly this way. So the only thing is, I wasn't sure at some point if he was going to have me do elastics on both sides once that was lined up pretty well, and it is lined up pretty well now. So I wasn't sure about that, but other than that, wasn't really expecting any major changes. So we went in, same thing that always happens. Come in, and one of the assistants will come over and will unband everything for him, and then he will come in and he does his exam, and I usually try and get a couple of questions in at that point. But he does kind of see each patient. There's usually 2 or 3 of us there, and he spends a certain amount of time with each one, and then he goes back out, and the staff will finish whatever needs to be done. He kind of gives them direction of what to do, how to do it, which way, what teeth, what to use, and then he goes back to his office. So they unbanded everything, and he came out, and he was looking, and he was like, yep, space is closing nicely in the front, and then on the side there's still another space here. I had that one tooth that was in the roof of my mouth that we pulled all the way over, which was great, but apparently it was not big enough to fill that space entirely, which I was a little surprised by, but there's a space between that tooth and the one in front of it. So in the act of pulling the top teeth back, that space is closing, and so is the space in the front gap. But I guess not quite there yet. And so then he was like, okay, just make an appointment for 4 weeks and we'll see you then. And I was like, wait, like, what? 4 weeks is 20 months. Are we not, are we not talking about our appointment to, no, we still got to do this, and we still need some more of that. And then he was just kind of moving on, and I was honestly a little bit devastated because that was not what I was expecting. And I knew that there was still some space left and a little bit of room to go, but we had, I thought, 1 more month. And things have closed pretty quickly in the past month since he readjusted to work on those spaces. So I thought maybe that's more than enough time. So I was definitely a little taken aback when he said, just see me in 4 weeks and we'll go from there. So very nonchalantly. So he was like, well, we still need to work on this and this space here. He's like, if you wanted to, you could put a crown on that tooth and that would fill up that space. And I'm like, no, thank you. Like, I don't need to spend another couple $1,000s on a tooth just to fill the space. Like, I'm not being impatient here. I can wait. If more needs to be done, then we will wait until it is done. I just wanted a conversation about where we are. And he's like, well, it's 18 to 20 it's always just an estimate. And I'm like, okay, but we are there. So we are at the estimate. We are at the estimated amount of time. So let's talk about where are we and how much longer do we think? And I think he just got the impression that I was kind of impatient or maybe bummed that the discussed timeline wasn't going to be met. And obviously that's not it at all. And I definitely wasn't angry in any way. But I was clearly a little bummed. I'm sure that he could tell that I was disappointed. Not because this is, horribly painful or obtrusive or anything in this point. I'm quite used to them. It's just, I'm over it. It's been a year and a half, over a year and a half, and I'm ready to be done. So I feel like I did what I needed to do, and I've gotten through, looking back now on how long it's been, it's kind of crazy to me that it's already been a year and a half, but it has, and I'm like, great, I've done it, and we're there, and, I was just really starting to feel the light at the end of the tunnel start to hit my cheeks, and he closed the door, damn it. So I was like, so not June. And he was like, no. Okay. It is what it is. Like I said, if we're not there yet, we're not there yet. Just, tell me what we're looking at, what we're thinking, and, just so I kind of have an idea in my head. And mostly when I was asking him, it was for planning purposes. Because the timing was going to fall right around my 25th anniversary. And, am I going to plan trips? Like, what is the date going to be? And so when I was asking up until this point, it was mostly because of that, because I had so much going on and I needed to know to plan things. And now I guess I don't need to worry about that happening in June. We'll figure it out in July now. I'll worry about planning in July. Hopefully July. There's not even any guarantee it'll be July. It could be August. I don't know. But it damn well better be this summer. That's all I have to say. By the end of the summer, these are going to be off. So he did his thing. We had a couple of, we chatted for a few minutes. I asked a couple of questions. I asked him if we were going to do the elastics on this side. And he was looking at it and he was like, yeah, this is lined up now. We could. But then he's like, well, I don't have a tooth on the bottom in the middle here. That's the one, that space I have on that side. And then the back tooth, which I do have, has a crown on it with that metal band with the lovely spike that's been torturing me for over a year and a half. And he's like, well, you don't have a tooth to put an elastic to on the bottom on that side. I was like, so you're telling me we can't use this metal band with this spoke that's been torturing me for a year and a half? And he's like, no. Oh boy. I made a joke at that point, like, so that's just been there to torture me the whole time? And he was like in there working and looking, and I think he thought, I'm not going to take my hands out of her mouth because I don't want her to be able to properly express how upset she is about this fact. That one definitely, I was like, are you kidding me? This thing has been poking me and stabbing me, and we're not going to ever use it? What? Okay. The shocking revelations at this appointment. They just kept coming. So anyways, he finishes up and he goes back into his office and tells her, PC 2310, whatever, all this stuff that he says that sounds like code. And he goes off and she gets back into banding. Now, I do use the clear bands because I have the ceramics on the top. I have the metal on the bottom, but I wasn't supposed to. It just ended up being the way things worked out at the time, and it was the best case scenario, so we went with it. I still use the clear bands on the bottom. They've asked me a couple times, do you want to just use the silver on the silver? And I'm like, the less silver in my mouth, the better. So I stick with the clear. At one point, one of the assistants had talked me into switching to the pearl because she had noticed that the clear bands tend to yellow. I mean, I drink a lot of coffee and I drink red wine. So over a month's time, those will yellow a little bit. And she's like, if you do the pearl, they stay a little whiter. So I'm like, all right. So she did them that one time, and I came back, and I'm like, yeah, those are fine. We can do that again. And he's like, no, actually, you should stick with the clear because the clear has a higher tension. They're a stronger band, apparently. And I was like, oh, I didn't know that. And then the assistant today was like, oh, which one? And I said it, and he's like, no, use the clear. And that's when he explained to her that they're stronger. So she's like, oh, I hadn't realized that. So she had to get that figure 8 band, the one that goes from the back tooth on this side of the top over every single bracket all the way across to the back tooth on this side. And she was kind of struggling. She's like, he wasn't kidding about this being higher tension. So she finally, it took a while, she finally managed to get that all the way back on. Now, as they pull things tighter and back, that wire starts to stick out the back because the space my teeth are taking up is smaller. So the wire gets a little too big, and they usually will snip some of that off each time as I don't need that extra length anymore. So it was poking a little bit on this thing. The last thing she did was she went in there to snip the end of the wire, and she broke the bracket. I'm like, this has already gone from the most fun appointment to the least fun appointment, and now I've got to wait. She has to take it all back out. We've got to wait for the doctor to come back out again. And he's going to have to clean that thing off. And he's going to have to prep the tooth. And he's going to have to reattach the bracket and cure it. And then she gets to put all the banding and the wire back on. And I was like, are you kidding me? Like, okay. And obviously she feels bad. I'm not going to make her feel worse. So, you laugh, you go with it. It happens, whatever. I mean, at least it happened at the office, right? Better than being at home. So she goes and tells the doctor, and I'm waiting for him to come back out. Now, in the meantime, while he was in there, he must have been thinking about the whole not being able to use an elastic on this side thing. So he comes back out, and he's looking around again, and then he takes out this band. It's like a piece of elastic. It's not a circle, though. It's a strip about this long, white elastic, and he goes in there and he wraps it around the back teeth on the top and then weaves it in between and then gets to the front teeth, and so he's pulling these teeth together. And he came out empty-handed, and I couldn't feel it or see it. I'm like, where did that thing go? But my teeth were tighter. And then so I have the elastic pulling on this side and that elastic woven in pulling on that side. So he kind of solved that no place to put an elastic thing on this side, which I guess in retrospect, that bracket breaking did give him the opportunity to apply a solution to that. So maybe that ended up being a good thing at the end of the day. But he put that in, and then he put the bracket back on, and then she came and he put the wire back in, and she got the band, the figure 8 band, all the way back on from left to right again, which took a while again. And we were finally done. Yeah, it was a long appointment, and it was not as much fun as I thought it was going to be. But we got through it. We always do. Came home, woke up the next morning. Every tooth over here was sore, especially the one that he anchored it to. Woo! So much for my thinking that we weren't doing anything new anymore. It took a couple days for that soreness to go away so that I could chew on that side again. But, as I have always said, the fact that that was so sore and moved so quickly, clearly that was going to do the work faster than if it had not been there. So, fine with that. It's been about a week. It's, I can still feel it, but I can pretty much bite down on it now. Eating is fine again. And then the next, I would say, it took about 3 or 4 days to get used for that soreness to go away. And then on day 5, the piece of the bracket that holds the rubber band on this side broke. I I really thought I was going to be such a low maintenance patient in the beginning, and I'd say for at least the first 6 months I was. Not so much the last 6 months, although I will say the last 2 breaks have been them and not me, so that makes me feel a little bit better. But this bracket he has already replaced once before because I broke the little prong that holds the elastic. Now, originally that broke off pretty early in, but I had months and months before I was using it for elastics. So one of the assistants had put a little wire hook on there, and for a couple of months that worked. I was using that when I started using the rubber bands to hold the band, and it worked for a couple of months, but then, that's a lot of tension for a little wire. Eventually that came out, and so when I went back that next month, they just replaced that bracket with a new ceramic bracket with the prong. And it was funny because I had to get used to that sticking in my lip again because it had been broken off for so long. But then it was nice to be able to wear the elastics and put them right on the thing that they're supposed to go on without having to try to get it on that weird little wire. And yeah, so they've already replaced this one once, and I think that was 2 or 3 months ago, and I've broken the little prong on that same bracket again. I mean, I don't know how, I don't know why that particular spot has broken twice now, but it does stick out. You can see this one sort of still there, and this one's gone. So it sticks out. I mean, it makes sense that it would be the first thing to break, but always this side. So anyways, I'm going in now in 2 days. I'm going to go see him again because it's Monday and he's not there till Wednesday, and this happened on Saturday night. So it'll be 5 days without bands on this side now, which is very annoying to me because, as you know, I can't stand to have any time go by where I'm not making progress, especially where I'm now behind schedule. A lot of little things. Again, nothing major, but a lot. It's kind of been a lot this month. I'm like, if I wasn't looking forward to the end at the beginning of this month, I certainly am now. So again, I'm going to go have this bracket replaced in 2 days, and hopefully that's it. Hopefully that's it for now. And next month I'll go in and he'll be like, everything looks great. Let's just book your appointment to take them off. And hopefully that will be the next update I get to give you guys. I hope you'll come back for that. But until then, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.